Welcome everybody to our Monday night shiur. Thank you guys for coming tonight. We are Parashat Vayera, a very special parasha. Vayera Hashem el Avraham. First and foremost, our shiur is Leilun Nishmat Shlomo ben Shifra, and also La'atzlachat all our chayalim, all of Kal Yisrael that are standing in the front lines, living in places of danger. May Hashem give them a lot of shmirah, hagana, and we shouldn't think that we're safe over here. Hashem should also spread His talit over us and give us shmirah v'hagana. We should be saved from Chavdei Mashiach, from Milchemet Gog uMagog. Amen. Why do I say all these things? And last thing, Hashem should bless all our anonymous sponsors. Hashem should bless them with bracha, v'atzlacha, zivug agul, b'zat Hashem yitbarach. Kol yishov, kol habrachos, amen. Guys, don't run away after the shiur, b'zat Hashem. We're going to make a special tefillah to be mevatel the neder of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I heard a very interesting, shiur. Before we start, this is a small side point, I'm not going to get too much into current events, even though we all know what's going on. Even when I write a cheshbon nefesh, I try not to put too much of what's going on in the world right now. And the reason is because, Hashem runs this world bichlal u beprat. Anybody who reads korbanot, he knows in the korbanot, at the end of before Yehuda ben Tema Omer, there is Rabbi Ishmael Omer.
The 13 principles.
The 13 principles how the Torah is learned. And one of them is bichlal u beprat. With what means ubeklal ubeprat. There is a general mitzvah, and then there is a specific point in the general mitzvah. How do you learn all the other points in the mitzvah? So there is bichlal ubeprat ubeklal, befrat ubeklal ubefrat. There's different ways how to learn it. So too, not lahavdil, but in a person's life, you have the klal. You have the general thing, what's going on in the world right now, and then you have bifrat, the personal thing, what's going on. So I don't want to mix in too much current events. I just want to say one beautiful thing that I saw. I don't want to say the scary stuff. I'm going to say one scary thing that I heard today, just to show you guys that we don't realize how you're right now living in a historic time that will be written in the history books. Lahavdil bilyonei avdalot ad ein sof ad ein ketz. The head of Hamas said today that he spoke to Putin, our friend Putin, and he said that he will teach in the history books the attack on Simchat Torah Tavshin Peidal, the Gruber Meiser, the Mr., the fighter of the Nazis of Ukraine, he himself. But I want to say one thing. Today, we all heard the news that they did a specific operation and they found one girl. Yeah, they rescued her from the tunnels of Gaza, from the rat tunnels of Gaza. And they showed how the night before, her mother did 3 big mitzvot. She didn't throw away a Kadosh Baruch Hu. She didn't say, why did Hashem do this? She didn't question. Who knows what the heck is happening to her. Like that father, that goy father, that his daughter was inside one of the things, and when he found out his daughter was dead, he said, thank God. As long as they don't go into that hellhole known as Azza. This mother, the night before they found the daughter, she put a kisui rosh on. She doesn't look like, to me, observant woman. But she put on a kisui rosh. They said, do hafrashat chala. We make fun of these things that a woman do. Hafrashat chala. What is this for you over here? You guys are all, what are you guys, a bakery over here? Hafrashat chala. But she went and she did hafrashat chala. She was crying as she did hafrashat chala. And her husband was doing haknasat sefer Torah at the same time. Bischut that you guys don't know. You guys saw the hafrashat chala. You guys didn't see the haknasat sefer Torah. Bischut that her daughter should be found. And guess what? In the morning, the whole Klal Yisrael were rejoicing that they found her daughter alive in the tunnels of Gaza. You guys understand how Klal Yisrael has the power to change the ma'arech? And that's what, we in L'Shem, we always say to you guys. If you want to change the ma'arech, if you want to change something, you don't need kamiyas, you don't need Kabbalah ma'asit, you don't need this stuff. You need to do something out of the ordinary. You have to change the ma'arechet, you know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean fasting, and this is something that's bothersome to a person. It could even mean coming to Shacharit at 6 in the morning. It's bothersome to wake up so early in the morning. You don't know how much evil, how much chas shalom categories you're stopping from yourself from coming to attaching to yourself by waking up so early in the morning. That, oh my God, I have to wake up again, and again he's calling me. Oh, and you still come. You don't know what you're doing in Shamayim. What did the woman do after Parashat Torah? Every other Jew in New York has a Sefer Torah. I'm sure it was not easy. They didn't look like such a family with means, but they knew they gotta do it. And I said this story to you guys before. I'll say it to you guys again. A story that happened to me personally. About 2 years ago, when my son was 1 year old, he was about 9 months old, 10 months old. My daughter, by mistake, gave him the small bottle cap of the Poland Spring, and he chucked it in his mouth. And I have a witness, a Goya. She was in my house. She was the cleaner from Colombia. She was a cleaner, and she saw the child turning blue. He was choking on it. I said this story to you guys before. And the child we thought that we called 911, we said that's it, and I tried to take my finger and I tried to lo yatsa, and he was 9 months old, my chesky. And I said to my wife, listen, what do you want me to, I can't do nothing, and I'm pushing nothing, and he's grasping for air. And then I said, it went in his throat, and I said to Hashem, if you save his life right now, $5,000 I'm going to give this zakah, and poof, I give one more push, and it popped out of his mouth the second after I made the neder. And back then I didn't have $5,000. So all these things, you see, if you want to change the ma'arechet of Shamayim, you have to do something out of the ordinary. I just had a personal thing that happened to me in my life where I was in this past week, I was in a bit of a bind, as they say, a financial bind. And one person asked me, he said, listen, could you learn with me Tuesday nights? And I'm like, listen, where are my Tuesday nights? I said to myself, Hashem Yibarach, this guy doesn't ask me for nothing. I said, Hashem, if you get me out of this thing, I will make time for him somewhere on a Tuesday to learn with this guy for 45 minutes to an hour. And it happened. I got out of it. And I said to the guy, listen, I'm ready to learn with you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going on. You have to change the matter. See, we put ourselves down. We don't understand the power that we have. Ribono Shel Olam, we have so much power. So much power we have. We could change the ma'arachot. A guy comes to me and says, here's $1,000, give it to charity. I have a court case, I have this. I said, listen, I don't make anything happen. I'm just a shaliach. I will give it to a person that needs the money. That's it. The Havdil Elef Havdalot. There was this guy that I used to help him every single year do something. A mitzvah I used to sell. And this year I decided to give it to somebody else. And this same year where I didn't help this guy, something was messed up at me. I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the money, I calculated how much money he would have made if I would have helped him, and I wrote a check. I said, Hashem, get me out of what I'm at, I will pay him that money. He said, see, if you live with Hashem, you know everything is midah kedeged midah, and as you as a Jew, as long as you do, now, why am I saying all this stuff? Every time we're shomer our enayim, shomer our brit, we don't look at, what does Hashem ask from us to do? We think we're far away. The only way we could help these soldiers, they're telling you, they're sending you all these messages. We want your tefillot. They believe in our tefillot. They want us to help them. They want our misirut. They're doing misirut nefesh in their neshama. They're willing to give up their neshama. What's our misirut nefesh? What is our misirut nefesh? Does it have to be specifically giving them money? Does it necessarily have to be giving them money? I heard in Canada they raised like $30 million in one day. Baruch Hashem, the money is coming in. Klal Yisrael will never ever give up on Klal Yisrael. Left, right, we don't care. Klal Yisrael, in a family, we always want the good for our family at the end of the day. We'll forgive at the end, no matter our grudges, no matter the revenge. We will always help one another. Avraham Avinu, Ribono Shel Olam. Lot was his klipa, says the Ari. Lot was the klipa of Avraham Avinu. You know what the klipa means? Klipa means the husk, the peel, the garbage, the shell. Hashem didn't promise Avraham that I'm going to make your descendants like the sand of the sea and like the stars of the sky until Lot didn't leave him. Do you remember what the klipa Lot was? A big klipa he was. But still, when Avraham heard that Lot was taken hostage, what did Avraham Avinu do? Vayarek et chanichav. I never heard such a lashon before in the whole Torah. Vayarek et chanichav. What's vayarek et chanichav? He gathered his entourage. How many were they, guys? 318 men. And the Medrash Rashi brings down, says there was one guy. That is the gematria of his name is 318. Eliezer. Imagine two guys. One is old. Avraham was more than 75 at that point. Eliezer was a black 50. African slave. He was a Damascus African slave. And they were going, and Avraham, and he's telling his master, says, where are we going? He says, we're going to fight. Who? Russia, America, China, and I don't know, what other armies there? Iran. We're two guys, right? Yeah. He didn't even say that to him. They just took sand. Abraham says, don't worry, I have some kavanot. Boom, atomic bombs. But that's what the Medrash says. I'm not making this up. This is what the Medrash says. If we're going to take the pshat of them, even if you say it was 318 guys, 318 guys versus 4 armies, are you kidding me? It's not even a joke. It's a joke of jokes. And they just, and what do? And how do we know the story is true? Nachum ish gamzo. One of the Tanaim. He went to the emperor. He wanted to abolish certain decrees, and the bad guys put sand instead of gold in there. It's sand. And Eliyahu Navi had to come and say, maybe it's the sand that his forefather used against the 4 kings. Let's try it out. We have Carthage is right down the corner. We can't beat the city. The Romans were bitter enemies with Carthage, Tunisia today. They couldn't defeat them. Hannibal, if anybody knows. So it says that they defeated them. How did they defeat them finally? They had walls to the Shamayim. Maybe that's the story with Nahum Ish Gamzu. They took the sand from Nahum Ish Gamzu's, his argas, and they started throwing it, and boom, atomic bombs were falling at the top. The Rishaim thought that, our land has this kind of special sand, so maybe we should put and bring to the emperor. He threw, nothing happened. It's the kavana behind it. It's the kedusha behind it. What's an atomic bomb? It's an atom that splits. There's fusion bombs and fission bombs. There's banging atoms together and then splitting atoms. It's one atom. You know how many atoms are in this room right now? Billions, if not trillions. You know in this table how many atoms there are over here? How many atoms are in you? You just take one of those and split it in the middle. Boom! You have an atomic bomb. That's all it is. So the kavanah and Avraham Avinu and Nahum Ish Gamzu he was able to use that power to split the atom. That's what was happening over there. But Avraham went to fight for Lot. He's a klipa. Lot was worse than Erev Rav. How? 10 times worse. Lot, what did he pick the first place to go to? Sdom. You know what Sdom is? Sdom is Hamas. It's the same letter, Samech Mem in there. Sdom is Samech Mem and Hamas is Samech Mem. I don't want to tell you guys a story. I want to say one story. It's the worst of all the stories that I heard today. I don't see these things. I don't even mitameh my yinayim. The Hamasnikim, if you want to know what Satan looks like, what he looks like, they went inside one of the houses. The Zaka member, that's the guys who are volunteering, you should donate to them, to clean up all the bodies and bury them in a Jewish burial. So they said, we saw a baby burnt in an oven. In an oven. They took a baby, live baby, put it inside, just like the gas chambers in Treblinka, and he said, what he saw there, they shot the father dead. While they did whatever they did to the mother, in front of her eyes, they put the baby inside the oven and they put it on bake. To Jewish kids. You understand? This is what they did. If you want to see Satan begalmuto, this is it. This is a Satan begalmuto. But you have to ask yourself a question. Who would have thought in the year 2023, in the year 5784, we would have to hear such a thing? You know, as a kid, since I love history as a kid, even though I'm a bio major, I love history, I teach history. I was always scarred from reading about World War II. I always prayed to Hashem, I should never ever hear of such a thing again. Ever. And to hear in my lifetime, 80 years ago, that such a thing is happening again. You can't even fathom just the mental scarring. Just the mental scarring that we have to go through in our days. It's the same thing again. It's not even 80 years. It's unbelievable. How much hate do you have to have against Am Yisrael? How much hate? Like, how much do you have to hate us? For what? We build your economy. We work for your nations. We teach you guys morality. Why do you hate us so much? What do you want? The Jewish community? Even Goyim say you could walk in the Jewish community late at night with your wallet open. Nobody's gonna steal from you. Everybody knows the safest communities is Main Street, Borough Park. Safest communities in the world. Why? The most moral communities. Who taught the world the 10 Commandments? Klal Yisrael taught it. Why do you hate us so much? How come you don't stand with us? That's the problem. We listen to our friends instead of listening to our enemies. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Timche et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim. Wipe out the memory, not just the physical, the memory of Amalek from under the earth. Wipe them out. Who was the first person to fight against Amalek? Yehoshua. This already is the answer to everything. What is the one thing that could erase Amalek? Yehoshua. Who's Yehoshua? In Kabbalistic vernacular, what sphira is he? The Yesod. Yesod, 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 Yesod. Yesod, Yesod, Yesod. He's the Yesod. Yehoshua is the Yesod. He's the Yesod Kadisha. Taharat HaMishpacha. Shemirat HaBrit. Shemirat HaInayim. Now, I'm not a Navi. This is one thing I was telling my wife today. I said, Ribono Shel Olam, in every generation, just you have an inkling of Jewish history, an inkling. Every generation, when such a tragedy, you're living right now, I just want to explain to you, you're living right now at the same level as the Spanish Inquisition, as the Holocaust, as the Gzerat of 1608, 1609, the Chemleniski pogroms. You are living right now a time that will live forever in Jewish history. Do you understand that? You are a living piece of history. That's what you are. What did we do? What's happened over here? What happened? What is this Amalek waking up right now? What did we do wrong? Now, I don't want to be the frumak. You know what the frumak is? The frumi that says, oh, we didn't hear shofar this year, and in Tel Aviv, the chilonim were breaking the mechitzot, and they said, oh, we have to, men and women have to sit together. I don't want to be that guy to say such a thing. It's not my job. I don't care to judge. I never judge. I don't care. I used to have a kid in my class that I don't want to say, all different, from left to right, everything I had. I never judged anybody, nor do I ever judge. Everybody knows in our shul, anybody could walk in black, yellow, red, purple, green. Doesn't matter what's color. It doesn't matter. In our Beit Knesset, everything is accepted. Everything is accepted. Accepted as a person, not averot, obviously. My point is that we never, chas shalom, put anybody down. But we have to be blind b'shem Hashem, not to see the crazy miracle that happened on Simchat Torah Tafshin Pei Daled. But not just blind, you have to be super blind. 22 yeshuvim, 22 settlements on the Gaza Strip border. The only two that were saved were the two that were Shomer Shabbat. I mean, are you blind? Don't you, like, I was speaking to kids today in my class, like, we don't get it. I have kids in my class that don't keep Shabbat. I'm like, guys, don't you think you should keep Shabbat? Like, just like something, like say Kiddush. I say it in a very funny way. I try to be very friendly with them. And I'm like, don't you see it's Shabbat? Like, Shabbat has something big to do with this. Rosh Hashanah fell on Shabbat. First night of Sukkot was on Shabbat. Like Shabbat was like the common denominator over here. But we just don't get it. And this is where I get to my point where I got to the realization, which it's written in the Sefarim. Hashem says in the book of Echa, the Midrash Echa, he says, I punished Yerushalayim double on its sins. That's what God says in the Midrash of Echa. Hashem Yitbarach. She said, why did I punish them twice on their sins? Because I gave them musar and they wouldn't listen to me. So in herds, what do you mean they wouldn't listen to you? You're trying to, a father hits his kid, give him musar. You're giving the punishment so the son should listen. So the Midrash says, no, not that because he wouldn't listen, because he cannot listen. It's like you take a 3-year-old kid and try to explain to him, you can't eat bamba for dinner. So you give him a petch, and you force him in his bed. You can't eat bamba for dinner. He's going to wake up 3 in the morning. Bamba. He's going to go and he's going to get that bamba. No matter how much you give him the petch, so Hashem says, I punished Yerushalayim lechinam. For nothing I punished Yerushalayim. Because the Musar doesn't work. So one big Rav said something great. He said, how many years did Hashem promise that Klal Yisrael was supposed to be in Galut? Last week's Parashat. 400 years. He said it openly. But any smart person who learns Shnayim Mikra or he listens to the Kriyat Torah, what does he see? What does it say in the Parashat? Parashat Bull. How many years were we really in Egypt? 210. Like from 210 to 400 is a big difference. And then the Torah goes so far to say, no, you know what? I'm going to add another 30 years. 430 years you guys were in Egypt. Well, we weren't. We were there for 210 years. So Midrash, don't think that Midrash turns a blind eye to that. It's a big question. Like Torah doesn't lie. You know what the Midrash says? And this is it's an emetic Midrash that's understood via Pshat. His Hashem was machshiv et haketz. Unbelievable. You know what he said? Was machshiv et haketz. Hashem took out his Pinkas, Kiviyachal, he took out his book. His how many years they have left? How do I shorten that distance? Do you guys understand what I'm saying over here? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to shorten the ketz. So he said, listen, these guys have 2,000 years left. How do I make it less? How do I shorten this? So I'm going to count, 30 years from Brit Ben Abitarim and 20 years from when Yitzchak was born. I'm going to make some kind of cheshbon to make it keilu, kabuta bi, it's 430 years. And I'm going to add another 30 years just for good measures. Make it 430 years, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to make some nice gematria. It's going to be 5 times Elohim. 86 times 5 is 430. You hear what the Midrash is saying? And the Ari HaKadosh says this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he wants to find a way to take the ketz and make it shorter, he can find a million ways. He'll take 30 years from this guy, 20 years from this guy, and he'll find a way to shorten everything. So too in our generation, we have to say, when is the ketz? In the year 6,000. That's the true ketz. This world is 6,000 years. How do we shorten that ketz? How do we say, Hashem, the ketz is enough? How do we say how do we turn that ketz, that end, that, you know what the word ketz is? Says Rabbeinu Ari in a dream to Rabbi Chaim Vital in Sefer HaChezionot. Just take the word ketz. How do you write it in Hebrew? Ketz, like this, right? That's how you write ketz. Ketz is the end. He says the word ketz is a kuf, it's 100. But a tzaddik sofit is really a nun and a yud. So what word is that really? Kuf, Yud, no, it's Cain. How do I take the sin of Cain that killed his brother, that sinat chinam, and I turn it into something beautiful, and I shorten it, and there was only one way. What's the only way to forgive? Yom Kippur can't forgive it. How do you forgive an Vayera of hurting your brother? By forgiving your brother. Hevel has to forgive Cain. And that's what it means. Your brother's blood is screaming to me from the earth. What does that mean? Your brother's blood is screaming to me from the earth. Hevel said, I will not forgive Cain for killing me. I will not forgive him. He killed me. There has to be justice in the world. There has to be justice. But Hevel doesn't understand that he was Hayav Mitah. Cain was just the tool to kill him. Why was Hevel Chayav Mitah? What did he do that he was Chayav Mitah? I'm going to read you from a book right now. This book is called Milei de Chasiduta. It was written by the Chalban HaKadosh. Not written by him, by his students. Questions and answers that were asked to him. He was a big Kabbalist. He passed away exactly 5 years ago. 6 years ago. He passed away. And he was a big Mikubal Tzaddik Nistar. He was a milkman. He had a milk factory. He had no beard, nothing. But in his shiurim, We're all the big tzaddikim. And he wasn't such a good orator. Lefi kevodo, I'm saying this, but he used to read from a script. He used to type it up and read from a script. And big mekubalim used to listen to his shiurim. Ravlisim Peretz. They asked him a question. Ita belikutei Torah. And I'm teaching you guys a secret right now, because this week's Parashat, it's Akedat Yitzhak, the binding of Isaac. Yitzhak Avinu was the Gilgul of Hevel. When you read Akedat Yitzhak every morning, Sfaradim never miss this. And if you're Ashkenazi and you're listening to this, you shouldn't miss this too. You should add this to your tefillah. Every morning we read, there's two things we read every morning, and that's because of these two things, the Sfaradim were saved from many tragedies. Correct. Don't look down on your mitzvot, guys. The smallest things that you guys say make ripple effects in all the olamot. I'm going to teach you two things, guys, tonight. Hopefully, if you guys bear with me. Number one, we don't miss Akedat Yitzhak every morning. Every morning before we start tefillah, we say Akedat Yitzhak. Number two, every day Sephardim say 3 times Pitum HaKetoret. Twice in Shacharit and once in Mincha. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in Parashat Emor, who is that? I can't see.
Is that him? The Chalban? No beard?
The Chalban, let me see. Yeah, that's him. Every time we say Pitum HaKetoret, we're saving ourselves. Rabbi Shimon says if you would know the power of Pitum HaKetoret, you would make a crown out of every letter, and you would make yourself a, those Greek crowns with the leaves. What do you call those things? Whatever it was. You would make a crown. You would make words out of it and make yourself a crown from the Pitum HaKetoret. That's why, by the way, I made our new parocha the Pitum HaKetoret. That's why I did. That's the Pitum HaKetoret over there. That we should have the koach of Pitum HaKetoret and the menorah in our Beit HaKnesset. Don't think it's something pashut. Everything I do is taken into a lot of chishuvim. So, it says in the Ari HaKadosh in Likutei Torah that the zera of heaven, any person who comes from the neshama of heaven, nitchayivu b'mita.
Wow.
They're all chayav mita.
From the shorish.
Anybody from shorish of hevel is automatically chayav mita. Why? When Hevel brought his korban, listen to this very carefully. It's lo pashut. When I first learned this years ago, I was shaking. There's a lot of Hevels out here. Most Talmidei Chachamim come from there. Hevel did a big avera when he brought his korban. Pagam b'machshava. He made a pagam in the machshava. Hirhura. He thought of something incorrect. Now, because he's a shorish neshama, that had a ripple effect on every human that comes from his neshama. Had a ripple. That means, don't think you as a regular guy, you're walking outside, you think you're a regular guy, you had a bad thought. Okay, beseder, it's a thought. Who cares? Okay, I saw somebody that dressed like that. I thought, beseder. Don't think like that. Rabbi say, if Hevel was make mechayev mita, every neshama that came from his soil because of a kavanah he had wrong, when he brought a korban, imagine what you do for all because you're a shorish, by the way. How many Jews are there? 15 million? How many religions are there? 2 million? I'm just giving you a good number. How many guys will learn Torah on Monday nights?
15.
Let's say 600,000. Let's say. That means you have millions of Jews that are latching onto you. That are sucking from you, by the way. And especially you're putting it on here. Imagine how many thousands of Jews are sucking just from your energy. They don't know it. You're one of them, yes, I know. So, a machshava is nothing small. A machshava is something big. The Gemara says, Im paga becha minuval zeh. This naval, and this minuval, and this rasha catches you on the way. Who? The Satan? What does that mean he catches you on the way? Says the Rash, says the Mefarshim, he catches you in the machshava. How do you save yourself in the machshava? It's in your head. Moshche with the Beis HaMedrash. The Torah breaks him. Take him to shul. And shul he cannot win you. What? The machshava, he can't win you. In the machshava. That means we all suffer from hiruim ra'im. Let's not be that. We all suffer from hiruim ra'im. You want to beat a hirur? Go to shul. Shaharit, mincha, aravit. Every shiur you have in the night, go over there. In shul, this is a malchut. This is malchut kadisha. This is a sukkah, by the way. During the year, the sukkah is shul. Once a year, the sukkah turns into a temporary dwelling place. But during the year, this is the sukkah, by the way. If you kiss the sukkah walls, you gotta kiss the shul walls, by the way. I'm not joking with you. I'm telling you, the Ariya Kadosh is a kavanah on it. 10 times Shem Ben. If you take Shem Ben, Shem Havaya times 2, 26 times 2 is 52. Times 10 is going to be Gematria Knesset. When you walk into the Bet Knesset, you have to think of 10 times Shem Ben. Which name is that? It's the last name on this parashat. Yud K Vav K. You see Yud Vav Dal K K Vav Vav K K. When you walk into shul 10 times, boom, you get that jolt. Why do we don't feel it? You get it, but you don't feel it. Because we're so into the way of the life. Okay, I gotta go tomorrow. I have work in 30 minutes. I gotta get out of shul at 7:30. I gotta finish Shaharit. And I'm also caught up in that. What can I do? I gotta take my kids down for the bus stop, and I have to do this. I have to do that. But once a week, you could slow down, come to Bet Knesset, and you could get that jolt. You could get that jolt. Look what he says over here. All of Zera. That means when you have a good machshava, you know how many people you're affecting. You wake up in the middle of the night. You say Antet Yadayim. You know how many Jews you're saving from doing znut va'arayot in the middle of the night? 100%. We don't know. How do you say Chadri?
Kadri.
How do you say your own worth?
Kadri
Jonash? Whatever. You don't understand your own worth. I don't understand my own worth. We don't understand our own worth. We don't understand our own worth. We are powerful with our tefillot. Avraham Avinu saved Klal Yisrael with one Mesirus Nefesh that he did with Yitzchak. He didn't even kill him. Yitzchak was Hevel. He was Chayav Mitah. Yitzchak was Chayav Mitah. That's why he got blind. Because he tzitz b'shechina. Because he looked at the Shechina. Why did Yitzchak become blind? Yeah, because his son did avoid Zara in the house and he got blind from the smoke. That's the side reason. That's the Hamas reason. What's the main reason? Yeah, Hamas attacked us on Simchat Torah, but what's the real reason? Hashem did it. All those conspiracy theorists, they don't want to blame Hashem. They don't want to confront God. They're afraid to confront God. Stop blaming humans. Confront Hashem. Hashem wants something from us. And the hardest is us in this room and everybody who's listening to this. At least Klal Yisrael who's listening to this. It's hardest on us. Why? We feel like we're good. We keep Shabbat. We keep Shabbat HaMishpacha. We keep Kasher. We learn Torah a couple of times a week. Every day, I hope. We wear tefillin. We wear tzitzit. Some of us when we sleep. We're good. What do you want from me? But the main ta'ana is going to be on us. Because we're the generals. We make the calls. Not that guy who's sleeping in Eilat and Simchat Torah night. He doesn't make the calls. You saw he fell asleep Saturday and Shabbat night on October 7th. The Southern Commander, he was sleeping in Eilat. He was on vacation. The Southern Commander of the Southern Strip of Israel. Im Hashem lo yishmor. It's not Biden. It's not Bibi Netanyahu, for sure not him. Guy eats shrimps for the love of God. It's not. I'm not making Chas Shalom judgment, but Rabbi say you are the Prime Minister. You guys are the. Look, Hevel was able to make a pagam in his machshava. In his machshava. And all the people from Hevel are chayav mita. And I'm going to try to get saved from that, by the way. Look what the Ariya Kadosh says. V'kol mi shemishoresh Hevel chayav mita. Anybody who's from Shoresh Hevel. V'kol hane'eragim. And everybody who's killed, rubam mishoresh Hevel. Most of them are from Shoresh Hevel. All the ones who are killed. Because since they were pogem b'machshava, when a person dies on Kiddush Hashem, or because he dies because he's Jewish, which I already taught you guys last week, that's also Kiddush Hashem, he goes up to the machshava. So how do you fix the machshava? By going back up to the machshava. Listen, I want to go to the machshava while I'm alive. I don't want to go up in a serious way. So the Rebbe Mikomarna, one of the big Hasidic Rebbes, whose all of his descendants died in the Holocaust, almost all of them, says, the way to fix it is to bring korbanot. Which two? Korban chatat, a sin offering, and shlamim, a peace offering. Because Eov brought only a peace offerings That's why he didn't die, but because he was from Shorish Hevel. That's why he needed sufferings. But those sufferings nobody wants to go through what Eov went through. I learned Tanakh. I try to finish every year. This past year I didn't. I'm in Eov right now. Learning Eov is always one of my favorite learnings. I read Eov and I see every single Yid that I ever met in my life. All the complaints you could think of, from the head till the end, all the complaints. But he didn't die. How long did Eov suffer? 1 year. And that 1 year, he cursed the day he was born. He was suffering a lot. He had boils, all of his kids died. His wife told him to suicide. All of his money went to the garbage. But he didn't complain until Hashem made him sick. Everything he was able to suffer until God made him sick. When he got sick, Az veikalel yomo. But how do you fix it? Look what he says over here. Ma yaseh shoresh hevel b'zeh azman. What do the people who come from shoresh hevel in our days do? They can't bring korbanot. Every morning, yikavnu kol boker b'yichud la'alafim. There's a special yichud, connection of God's name. It's called la'alafim, for the thousands. And it's not enough to have this kavanah while you're saying the Yag Midot. What does it mean, the Yag Midot? Bring me a Siddur real quick. The Mi El Kamocha Noseh Avon V'Over Al Pesha L'Shid Echanato Lo Echzil Ala Bo Yashuv Yirachamenu Yichbosh Avnoteinu Tashich B'Mitzot Yam Kol Chatotam. If you open up your Avodat HaKodesh, this is the Yichud he's talking about. Yichud is the connection. Yichuds are higher than Kavanah. It's in the Avodat HaKodesh, page 82, Lavan. You see this? Sfaradim say it every morning. Miel kamocha noseh avon v'over ha'pesha l'shit. Before Shema said, Lo yizeh ukir v'zeh yishuv yachamini yakboshon dashech v'misot yam kol chatotam. Right? Titen emet leYaakov chesed la'Avraham asher nishbat al avoteinu mimek kedem. Guys, I'm teaching you guys now Hatzalah. This is right now a bulletproof vest. What's this kavanah? It's called la'alafim, for the thousands. Says the Chalban. He says over here, specifically before Shacharit you have to have this kavanah, and if you can, while you dip in the mikveh. Why? The Baal Shem Tov says dipping in the mikveh before Shacharit is like bringing a korban. You hear? Dipping in the start with once a week. Shabbat. Do Shabbat first, and then we'll talk. Listen, soon you're going very far away. I don't know if there's mikvahs over there, so don't get too used to it. I'm busting your jobs. I'm busting your job. Listen, I don't go to any Hanukkah tabai. Yours I'm gonna go to. We're gonna build one? Then I'm gonna come more often. Okay, Lina, say Lina. Yeah, those will cost a couple of hundred G's. Okay. So it says over here, what's this Yichud La'alafim? This Yichud La'alafim, the first time we see it, in my opinion, that means from what I learned, the Ari taught it in Shara Kavanot, Drush Rosh Hashanah. He says, anytime you see the Yetzer Hara bothering you, think of this, and you're going to have a safety to defeat him. That's what he says. The Ari HaKadosh says this. But it has to be a constant thing. That means if the Yetzer... Now let's say the Yetzer Hara bothers you, but then you invite the Yetzer Hara. He's not talking about that. He's talking about a guy that, you're sitting in the middle of, I don't know, some high-end office and thing, and everybody's over there, And suddenly the Yetzer Hara is bothering you. You don't want to think about it. Think of Yichud La'alafim, it's not going to bother you. That's what he's saying over here. What's this Yichud La'alafim? In Sod, I'm holding this up, I'm putting it down. We have something called Mazala. Anybody who comes to this shul, we know the number 78 is very holy. Not only because the rabbi lives on 78th Avenue, and because the shul is on 78th Avenue, but because the number 78 is also Gematia Lechem, bread. The world needs bread. Not just physical bread, spiritual bread. If you don't get the spiritual bread, you don't get the physical bread. Okay? Now, this Yichud of La'alafim, there are 4 kinds of din. And I'm gonna draw them to you on the board right now. These are the 4 powers of din. 5 powers of din. And if you're from Shoresh Kayin, you have 6 powers of din. These dins are the source of all your Yisurim. Yisurim. You have to learn how to sweeten them. All these names are dinim kashim. Now, number 1, I taught you guys this many times. Pere Adam. Ishmael is a Pere Adam. What's Pere Adam? Pardinim. What's Pardinim? Somebody remind me? No one?
5 dins.
What are they? What letters are they?
Mantabach.
Mantabach, thank you. Mantabach.
Good morning.
Mantabach. What else? Shach dinim. What's shach dinim? 320 dins. 5 times din. Very good. Say it with
Conviction.
exactly. 5 times din. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have Mantabach and din. The next din is the din that when you dip in the mikveh, you sweeten it. What is that? Shem Kana. Gematria mikveh, 151. Aleph.
Lamed.
Aleph. K. I'm making a kuf on purpose. Yud. K. Now, Shem Kana, this is the kavanah we have when we dip in the mikveh. It's also Gematria Kaas. Right. When you dip in the mikveh, you have to have this kavanah. That means the smallest kavanah any Jew has to have when he dips in the mikveh is this. I once gave 3-part shiur kavanot of the mikveh. I'm pretty sure we all forgot about it. But if you would make 1 kavanah in the mikveh, 1, let's say you're afraid of water. Well, 1 kavanah you have in the mikveh, it's this name. Okay, which is Gematria mikveh, Aleph K, Yod K. Now, this is 151. You also have to have a kavanah besides for the numerical value of this name, also the letters of this name. How many letters does this have? 10. That means besides that I'm sweetening the numerical value of these names, I'm also sweetening the actual letter. Understand? That means it's like I'm saying, do I give you the cake or do I give your family the cake? Who's the glavni in the house? The Abba. He's the name. I'm the Gadaev. Who's my descendants? They're the number of the name. I have 7 descendants in my family. Correct? That's considered the number of the family. But who's the glavni? Who's the king? Who's on the chessboard? When you get checkmate? When you get rid of the king? You're the king. You're the number. You're the actual name. You're Yonatanov. Who's the descendants? Your descendants are the numbers. You understand? The gematria is always a less of a value than the actual name itself. Of course, because the name is not you don't get checkmate by killing the pawns. You got to take out the king. Who's the king? The Abba. Okay? So besides for the numerical value, which is 151, you also have the letters itself, which is, again, Aleph, K, Yud, K. But I'm not thinking of the numerical value of the name. I'm actually thinking of the picture of the Aleph, of the Lamed, of the Fe, of the Yud, Vav, Dad, and so forth. So 151, how many letters do I have here? 10. It's getting 161, Gematria, Kain. The death of Kain. Next name, which is the next 2 names which are names of Dinim, Elokim. Of course, the name Elokim is the name of great din. And Do and Ammonai. Elokim and Ammonai. And also, after I think of the numerical value of the name, I think of the actual letter. So I think of it twice.
What's the numerical value of that?
Also, 151.
Oh, yeah?
Also, name of din. Din is 151. Plus the 10 letters is going to be Kain. Dinim Kashim. Death. All these names that I showed you over here, all these names, those are Shoresh Lekol Hadinim. There's one name that sweetens all of them. And this is the name that's called Mazala. That's the Mazal. That's the 78. Not 3 times Havaya. There is a name that controls 3 times Havaya. What is that? Yod K Vav K, Shem Ab. That's the first name on the Parashat over there. Yud Vav Dalet, Hey Yud, then Vav Yud Vav, and then Hey Yud, Shem Ab. So if you look in your Siddur that I told you, page 82, people skip this part. Ni El Kam. Now every time you say Vayavor, you also have this Kavanah. Why? Because the Vayavor is the ultimate sweetening of all the din that's supposed to come onto you. So what happens? You do Averot, 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 Averot. They're supposed to come to you, right? They're on the doorway. So Hashem says, say Vayavor, you're going to push them off for a day. That's why it happens. Sometimes a person skips some parts of Tefillah, and suddenly that day, boom, that happens to him. Boom, he misses Minyan, he misses this part, boom, this happens to him. I'm not telling you to be superstitious and hold something in your heart. I'm telling you because the Peulah that you did was not complete. Okay? So look in the Siddur over here. You have Miel kamocha nosei avon ve'over al pesha l'shei nachalato lo exig la'adapo ki chavetz chesed hu yeshuv yirachamim yichbosh avonoteinu v'tashlich b'mitzolot yam, send to the depths of the sea kol chatotam, all the sins that I have. How do you do that? When you sweeten all the shemot of the din, automatically the evil departs.
Where is the...
So, you see Shem Ab on the top.
Yeah. Okay.
Has to be Mematek. You see Shem Kana over here? 151.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. And the 10 letters.
Okay.
And then Elokim Va'amonai.
And
the 10 letters. I now skip that line over there. That's only people from Shoresh Kain have that Kavana. Skip that one. Then Mansapach. And 5 times Din.
So you have to count the 10 letters?
You don't count them, you have to picture them. That these 10 letters are the neshama. They're the neshama of the numbers.
But for 151, you have to
the first,
you have to engrave those.
Those 151 is the number of the letters.
Engrave them?
The number. Of course you have to see the letters in your head.
Right.
But you're thinking them in terms of their number. First their number. And then you think of them in terms of their letters. That means it's a higher sweetening. Why do I think of their numbers first? I work from the bottom to the top. First I have to sweeten the smaller sweetening, which is the number. And then I sweeten the actual letter. It's a mashal. But in this is all the shorsh of all our dinim. That's why Yom Kippur, we bombard HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We bombard it. Why do we bombard it? People think, okay, he's just singing some chazanut over there. Amonai, Amonai. He's singing over there. It's not a song. It's the kavanah behind it. Halavai. Every shul should have one guy doing this kavanah. Halavai. Halavai should be a community, a town, a city in the world. One guy should be doing this, and it's happening. It's happening because what happened? I saw an interview one Hamas guy in Gaza, in Azab. He was saying, "Where's Hezbollah?" He's yelling over there. What were they relying on the whole time? The attack from the north to split the kochot, to split them. And they're not attacking. They're attacking 1 missile, 2 missiles, 3 missiles. How come they're not attacking? What's in their head over there? Someone's going on. And it's us. We're over here doing the kochot. Of course, them. But who's the backing? They're saying it themselves. They want our tefillot. You should do this kavanah every single day. This siddur over here, you should use it. This should be your ABC siddur over here. What's the kodesh? This is the siddur. You have to do it. Now, it's hard to do it. It's hard to understand it. I'm not done with the kavanah, though.
What's the first
This?
No, here.
This?
No, in the book. I want to
Shem Ab?
The first one, I want to tell you.
Huh? That's the same Ab that you see later on. It's the same one. You could do that kavanah too, yeah. It's the same one. Now, after you do this, and by doing this kavanah, v'tashlich b'mitzolot yam kol chatotam, all your chataot go down in the mitzulot yam, because you reveal the kedusha inside the shemot. You reveal the kedusha inside the shemot. Well, there's a problem. And every single time you throw down the Yetzer Hara, inside those things, there's also sometimes some good guys that go down with them. some hostages.
How do we pick them up?
How do you pick them up?
You gotta go into tunnel.
Titan emet leak. You don't need to go into Gaza. Your head is Gaza. Right? Your head is. This is your tunnel, by the way. Your brain has more tunnels than all of Gaza times 1,000,000. By the way. Titan emet liakov. Chesed la'Avraham asher nishbat al avotenu mimei kedem. When you say the words mimei kedem, you have the kavanah of the second mazal. The second mazal. What's the second mazal? Aleph. K. Yud. K. Shem Kasa.
Where are you seeing that?
Page 83 on the top. You see in the bold Shem Kasa? Huh? Say again? I'm not doing the one on 82, the Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. I'm doing this one over here. This Shem over here. Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. You see that Shem over there? That's called Shem Kasa. Yeah. That name is called the Mazal HaTachton.
Oh, so highlights over here.
Mazal HaTachton.
The
The lower mazal. The lower mazal, those are the forces that pick up the holy sparks that fell down into
Are
hostages.
you allowed to highlight the Siddur?
Sure, why not? Listen,
No,
use it.
No, I'm saying if it's
What good does it have to do on the bookshelf over there? Use it. You have to pick up. Sometimes there's good neshama that fall down with a bad one, the bad stuff. You gotta pick them up. What name picks them up? Aleph K. Yud K. And now, that's what we do before Shacharit. If you could do this in the mikveh, it's like you brought a korban to Hashem.
Why can't this picture be in the mikvah? Or it's not?
You could, but you have to double cover it with glass. Because it's Shemot Hashem. You have to at least double cover it with
No,
glass.
just remember, it'll take you like 7
Right.
tries.
You could say it b'tefillah. Mekubalim usually say this b'tefillah. It should be the will of Hashem with the power of Notzer Chesed, which is Yichbosh Avonoteinu. It should be having the power to be mematek the averot and the alafim. Now let's move to the page. Now this is in before Shacharit. If you do this in the mikveh, en ketz l'scharo.
Bomb.
There's no. It's a bomb. It's an atomic bomb. It's not a fusion bomb. It's a fission bomb.
With Miel Kamocha?
Yeah, in your head. Yeah, in the head. Yeah. It means when you say la'alafim, I'm throwing them down deep in the water. I go in the water. Then when I'm going out, I think of Aleph K Yud K, the good sparks. I'm saving them. Now let's go to page.
Wait.
Oh, I should wait for it.
Let's see how this works in Vayera. Now I'm sorry, I'm teaching you guys. Now you guys think this is deep Kabbalah. It's not. This is first grade stuff.
Introduction.
All right. This is first grade stuff. Deep Kabbalah would be teaching you this book. Okay? It's too much, yeah?
No,
It's not too much.
it's not too much.
This is no point. This is. You know, I was saying this in the shiur. How in such tragedy, not one Navi, not one Baal Ruach HaKodesh, not one Baba Sali has gotten up. Everyone's quiet. Not one. And I say this to we're in Chutz La'aretz. At least we have an excuse. Kabutavi. In Eretz Yisrael, you have thousands of people learning this. Not even one Baal Ruach HaKodesh had gotten up. Where are they? We're in a deep generation of darkness. Deep. I'm telling you guys. We have to pick ourselves up. We must. Look at page, and we need kavanot, Rabbi said. I'm going to read you something. I'm going to end the review daftai over here. I'm sorry I'm going a little too long. I know you guys not usually I finish after 15 minutes, 60 to an hour. 190. Well, let's start from 189. We say, you guys realize in Shacharit, I unfortunately because of my avonot, because I was afraid of the kahal, I used to skip the Monday and Thursday. Now I started to do it because of the situation. I started to do it every Monday and Thursday, and as long as we're doing it, sometimes I hear people they're talking while we're doing the Vayera, you know, because I try to do it, you know, a bit quickly so they can't catch up. At least to say Vayera, so it's not a time to he's saying it. Akol b'seder. Try to say as much as you can yourself. Monday and Thursday is known as days of din. Monday is Gevura, that's a sphira of total din. And Thursday is Hod. That's the sphira of the Nida, of the Shichrut. Thursday is a tough day. Tougher than Monday. Huh? That's what we're doing, you see? One good thing came out of it. Let's look at the 189. Al panav vayikra Amonai Amonai. Look at when it says kel. What's right next to kel? Mi'al kamocha. It means mi'al kamocha and kel. They coexist. One is the neshama of the other one. Rachum v'chanun erech v'rav chesed ve'emet. Notzer chesed Shem Ab is right there. Tzich bosh avonotenu la'alafim. That la'alafim. That's where you do the kavanah. It's the same place as in the 190, as in the Mi'al Kamocha. You see the word la'alafim? In the la'alafim, you have the same kavanah again. Shem Ab, which is the mazala. Have kavanah mazala. That's why they say grow a beard.
Why?
Because the beard is the physical attribute of this.
Say again.
The beard is this, but in the physical world.
Wow. You're not doing it.
This is in the mind.
Boom.
In the mind. That's right. Big Chachamim, when they used to read this, they used to touch their beard. Mi'el kamocha nosei abon v'over al pesha. They used to touch. They knew where part of the beard. I also can tell you guys this thing. Inside these 13 attributes is your beard. Some people beard is long, some people short, some people like this. Everything according to your shoresh, nishama. Some people beard get white over here. Some people get white over here. All this is not genetics. It's shoresh nishama. Genetics, that's already what's in this world. But in the shoresh, what's going on over there? Understand? For example, why some people get white over here first and not in their hair? Some people the opposite. They get white over here and then in their beard. It's a reason for that. Okay? For example, in the shibolet, in this part over here, which is the chin, why do a lot of people get white over here first? White is the color of rachamim. It's the color of rachamim. It's a good color. Person is white, he's calm. He doesn't want to get dirty. He doesn't want to get angry. He's calmer. This, that. Shabbat, we wear white. We don't want to get angry on Shabbat. All the lights of your gar, they all meet where? In the Shibolet HaZakat. So where does the mituk happen first? In the Shibolet.
Chinny chin chin.
Hi. So look at the Notzer Chesed La'alafim. So you see the same kavanah again. Notzer Chesed La'alafim. Shem Ab is sweetening Ekeh and its letters. Elokim V'Amonai and its letters. Mansapach, the mansa. We gotta sweeten the mansa. Pere Adam. What's Yishmael? He's a Pere Adam. What's Pere? Mansapach. He sucks from the mansapach, Yishmael. Yishmael takes from the sofits. He takes from the mansapach. How do you sweeten it? Remember I taught you the kavanah of the olives? The olive goes down. You gotta take the olives from the mansapach to the dins. We gotta sweeten it, Rabbi Isai. Nothing to do. If you want a Beit Chabad in Aza, we have to work over here with our kavanot. There was a rabbi, Rabbi Tzadok, in the time of the Second Temple. The Second Temple wasn't destroyed. For 40 years Hashem let it go. Why? 40 years this man was fasting. 40 years he fasted. He said he fasted so much when he would swallow his spit, you could see it go down his, he was a skeleton basically. Hashem didn't let the Vayera be, as long as he was doing kavanot and yichudim. Now, I cannot teach you yichudim of the Yudim va'avavim. Those are yichudim, kiddushim, v'tehorim. You need to go to the mikvah to be tahor for that. But I could teach you small yichudim. This yichud is not small, but small in the size. Everybody could do it. It takes 10 seconds every morning to do. 10 seconds. Everybody say 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. You can do this in 8 seconds, in 5 seconds. All you need is a will. That's it. Desire. B'yidiyuk. You need a desire to do it. And you need to believe that when you do these things, your Mesirus Nefesh is working to make these things happen. What more can I teach you? I can't teach you anything else. I'm going to tell you a review of Daftaya. I'll let you guys go real quick. Review of Daftaya says in the name of Rabbi Chaim Vital in his book Yain Areka, who she wrote with his father on the Zohar. He says like this. I read this. I want to cry. If the rabbis of the generation, during Rabbi Daftaya's time, during his time was the Farhud, or right after his time. The Farhud, you guys don't know this. What happened in Simchat Torah happened to the Iraqi Jews in World War II. How come the Jews ran away from Iraq? There was like a small pogrom, not a small pogrom, Also, 1,000-something were killed. Rabbi Sasson Mizrahi Abdel Al-Aziz, the Baal Bati Legani, he says, the Arabs in Iraq, how did the Jews run away from there? There was something called a farhud. Farhud was like a small pogrom. They would take Jewish girls and they would take a sword and cut off their dadim, they would cut it off. They would take girls, chop off their head, babies. You could Google it. You could read about it. We don't know history. I've always said we don't learn Jewish history. We rather teach our kids in schools about the Native Americans and the Aztecs, for the love of God, and about the Hernan Cortez and the conquistadors than to teach our kids. Every parent should say to his principal, instead of teaching my kids nonsense, please teach them Jewish history. Do me a favor. Yeah, you should say that. I personally, I love history, for the love of God. But it's such a waste of time. Conquistadors. Who cares about the conquistadors? Who are the conquistadors? About the Magellan and his voyage around the Pacific.
1600s.
Who cares about this stuff? And King James and the Magna Carta and habeas corpus. Azov the shtiyot ez, ako shtiyot. Teach them about the Farhud. Teach them about what happened to Klal Yisrael in Egypt. Teach them about these things. It will give the kids a meaning of where they come from.
Do yeshivas have?
They don't have that.
They don't have Jewish history.
Senior year, they teach them for half a year, but they're already burnt out. Im chachamim shel ador. Don't run away, Rebbe. Read this, hear this part, then you can run away. Im chachamim shel ador. If the rabbis of the generation, ayu miyachedim, if they would do kavanot and yichudim, says Rabbi Chaim Vital, Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. I just have to show you his picture to give you guys some fear of Hashem. Guys, look at this picture. Look at this. This is an angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Look at this. This is not a malach begalmuto. Look at this. This is Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya in his last years of his life doing yichudim while learning Etz Chaim. And look what he quotes in his book Yain Arek and the name of Rabbi Chaim Vital. Im Chachamim. He blames the Chachamim of the generation. He blames them for other stuff too. I'll give you a shir about that some other time. The Gemara says if the Jews would have more children, none of this would have happened. Just like in Mitzrayim, the woman would pop out 6 kids at a time, and Mashiach came right away. Hashem was mizarez et haketz. So too in our generation, I can't have kids until I finish school. I can't have kids this. I can't have kids that. While these Pere Adams, they're popping 3-4 wives each, 6-7 kids.
You get married.
You understand? You have to get married young. You have to have children. Parents have to help. We have to do everything we can to have more children. Especially right now, they kill the young kids. Young. How are we going to make up for all this population?
You gotta get married. You got 5 wives.
I don't know about 5, but...
Get the ones you have pregnant.
Yeah.
That's not thing.
It says, if they would do yichudim, shetikanti lazeh, like the yichud of the Yudin vavavin, the Yuds and the Vavs, they would cause kama ha'arot ba'olamot, they would cause lights in the world ad in ketz. Vayu memaharim geulatenu, they would cause the Geulah to come closer. Milvad shehem gormim lenishmatam, besides the fact that they're causing their soul for the goodness. V'gadol, not my words, Rabbi Chaim Vital and Rabbi Yehuda Aftaya. Gadol ha-yichudim, greater are those kavanot. The yichudim, me'esek ha-Torah. The learning Torah. Now you're shot. Now you could go. Now you could wait. Now, wait. Now you could go.
Because it's hard.
Hashem Yitbarach. Huh? Hashem Yitbarach. Bless everybody over here. Guys, babracha, revacha, tzachah. We should be saved from Chevle Mashiach. Milchemet Gog uMagog. May we zoche lePriya Reviyah. May we zoche lebracha, leTorah, leMitzvot, Masim Tovim. May we be zoche to live and see that day when there will be a Beit Chabad in Azza. Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach. B'chol me'ed me'edav acheni yasonu. Amen.